We've been having chats with a lot of people in our community that are trying to find jobs remotely so that they can work and live overseas. And they're running into a huge roadblock. Today, we're going to tell you what that roadblock is and how to overcome it so that you can become an entrepreneur expat and live and work from anywhere.
Hi, welcome to Entrepreneur Expat. This is Justin and I'm Amanda, and we are expats and entrepreneurs who are currently spending most of our time living in Mexico and traveling to other countries. On this channel, we talk about remote work, making money online, becoming an entrepreneur, doing business all over the world, and everything you need to know about living in other countries. So if that's something that interests you, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. And we also have a free guide for you that's going to help you with a lot of the stats and data and things that we're going to be talking about in this video. It's called our Make Money From Anywhere guide. It's completely free. You can download it below, and it's going to show you how to get started in making money remotely so you can go anywhere in the world.
So let's discuss the problem that a lot of entrepreneur expats and aspiring entrepreneur expats are having when it comes to making money from anywhere. We've got a few stats actually pulled up here on our other phone, and what we noticed is that all of the survey data over the last few years really falls in line with what we're hearing from our friends, from our colleagues, and from people in the entrepreneur expat community that have told us their stories when it comes to finding a remote job. So a survey from McKinsey showed that by mid-2021, in the middle of all the craziness that was happening during that time, about 58% of US workers were offered remote work options post-pandemic. So the appeal for remote jobs was there for companies. They didn't necessarily want to take different health risks by having people in the office. So they said, you know what, work from home, it's totally fine. And at that time, they didn't have so many people that were going overseas or living and working, let's say in Tulum, and telecommuting to work essentially from there. And they weren't aware also of all the tax implications and all of the other potential challenges for those businesses having those remote workers outside of the US. And over the last few years, though, based on, you could call it many different things, but it could be in part those tax regulations and the necessity to comply with them, pressure from like corporate offices saying, you know what, we just can't have people living outside of the US, it's a security risk, whatever it is. Pressure from foreign governments. They didn't want to have to set up whole separate offices there to pay taxes, let's say to Mexico or to Colombia or to the UK or other countries that had a lot of remote US workers but that weren't paying taxes formally into the system there. And it was just too much of a headache for a lot of the US corporations. Obviously, you can also say, well, maybe they are interested in keeping you in a place like the US where living costs are high because they know that you're going to be a lot more, what's the word?
Golden handcuffs.
Exactly, like the golden handcuffs, because they're paying you just enough to get by, but not so much where you could actually afford that lifestyle freedom that being an entrepreneur expat gives you. Well, let's look at the more recent data. A recent report from the Washington Post shows that many remote jobs are now geographically restricted, meaning, yes, it can be remote. You can do this from anywhere at home as long as you're in the United States, which isn't really that much when it comes to what you guys are really trying to do here in terms of being an expat.
Right, and not just the United States, but it also might be restricted by state. Because what happens if, and ask me how I know this, if you're hiring people in multiple different states, there's lots of different restrictions and regulations and taxes, and basically it's an administrative nightmare for the business. So essentially what's happening, and what we've heard from a lot of you guys on these calls who have been looking for remote work, is that, hey, look, I'm finding all these remote jobs, but they're still requiring me to stay in the United States.
And according to that same study, just to make sure that we give you guys the numbers, 94% of postings, according to that Washington Post study, are now requiring that even the remote jobs mean that you have to be remote but in the United States.
Right, so you can work remotely, but it basically means work remotely from your house. Yep. Which goes completely against what most of you are trying to do, which is work remotely so you can travel full-time and live in other countries, which then begs the question, what do they do in order to make money that allows them to go anywhere that they want? Because clearly it's not happening with remote jobs anymore like it was during the pandemic because companies started getting presented with issues that they didn't have before and issues that, quite frankly, they don't want to deal with. So the way that they get around it is by saying you can work remotely, but it's in your house.
And all that does is it saves them money on air conditioning and internet and office space for those corporations, but it doesn't really bring you any benefit other than maybe saving a little bit of time on the commute. But you're still paying US taxes, you're still sending money outside of your country to fund lots of things that you probably don't believe in if you're watching this channel, and you're not getting the freedom to actually live wherever you want and to save money and have a much better quality of life with better food, with better people, and obviously a lifestyle that costs you a lot less so that you can save and invest instead of just paying it all to living expenses.
And you're also not being able to partake in what many of the people we have interviewed for our Expat Story series have called the best education in the world, which is living in other countries and experiencing other cultures and learning from other people, because boy, does that open your entire mindset, your entire world, your entire life in a whole new way that doesn't happen if you just stay in the same place for the rest of your life. So how do people start making money online if the remote job thing is not an option anymore?
Well, the secret that's not really that much of a secret to most people in our space is you need to start your own business. And at the beginning, it might be something as simple as consulting with some of the companies that you've worked at in the past. Maybe instead of getting a job there, you can become a 1099 independent contractor, essentially a consultant, and do the work remotely, but as a contractor, as a consultant, essentially as your own business owner. What you'll find though over time is that even though that does give you a little bit more freedom, the real gold here is to start a business where you're actually getting clients, you're charging them based on the value that you provide to them or to their organization, to their business, instead of the hours of input that you put in. So you're building a program, you're building a productized service, ideally where other people, not just you, can be delivering on that service, and you actually have leverage over your time.
You build a business that has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not you are in the United States.
Or whether you are the one directly delivering that value to people. Because at the end of the day, what really makes money, and what we found out being each 15 plus years in business, is that it's not about you being there in person or remotely or wherever else it is, clocking in 8 hours a day, just filling that seat. It's about what are the problems in the marketplace that you can solve. And we teach a lot of business owners. We've worked with, what was the total just in Persuade to Profit? It was hundreds.
Yeah, hundreds
of
just
different
in
clients.
Persuade to Profit. All the digital products and clients we've worked with over the last 15 years, close to 3,000.
Yeah, and just in our latest programs where we actually have very close-knit mastermind groups, we've had dozens of people go through those kinds of programs and create 6 figures of revenue just in the last several months from building and enhancing the businesses that they had, automating them, creating systems just like we have on YouTube. We've got our YouTube channel. We've got our email marketing system on the back end. We've got text messages. We've got all of these different systems that work whether we're actually in front of our computers or not. Amanda and I were just sitting here at a park. We kind of got inspired to record this video for you guys, but whether or not we were actually working today or not, it's a beautiful Friday here in Guadalajara.
We still had payments coming through. We still had leads coming through. We still had people on our YouTube channel.
We still had leads being nurtured. We still had emails going out. We had calls getting booked on autopilot because of the systems that we set up in advance. And that's how a real business works. That's what is going to be the difference between you slaving away all day in front of a desk, in front of a computer. I mean, so what if you can do it at the beach in Bali? You still have to be in front of your computer delivering whatever you're delivering all the time for those people. And if you decide you want to take a week or two of vacation and actually go travel and actually go explore, which, let's be honest, that's the point of having this entire lifestyle and being an expat, is to be able to explore, to be able to learn, not to be chained to your desk.
Yeah, we also talk about how these remote jobs don't even pay that much money, and you can make a lot more money running your own business.
It's true, yeah. A lot of the time, if they do let you work remote, and like we said, 94% of the time, they're not letting you work remote from outside of the US.
Yeah.
But even if they do, you're probably going to take a pay cut as well. So instead of making $60, $70, $80, $100,000, they're likely going to say, you know what, you're in Colombia now, you're in Mexico now, you're in wherever, you're in Indonesia. So we're going to pay you like around the equivalent of the market rate. And we've heard that so many times. That's why you got to take control. And here's the other thing. a lot of people that did have those remote jobs, you think, you know what? I landed a remote job. I'm totally safe now. No, they're taking those remote abilities back and saying, you know, if you want to stay at this job now, as of this coming year, you've got to come back into the office or you've got to come back to the US. Man, could you imagine spending 3 to 6 months in this marketplace looking for a job, potentially taking a pay cut over what you were making before for a remote job, getting told that you can work from wherever, and then 6 months to 12 months later, they say, you got to come back into the office now after you've set this entire thing up and you're living your life wherever it is that you want to be in the world. I mean, that's not the life for us, for sure. And so we want to caution you that that definitely can happen if it hasn't already happened. So it would behoove you to look into the online business space and really take matters into your own hands instead of working for somebody else and following that traditional quote unquote safe path of having a remote job and working for somebody else.
Yeah, because part of the entrepreneur expat lifestyle is freedom. And the thing is that if you're working for somebody else in a remote job, you really don't have freedom. It's not a thing. They're dictating where you can live. You can, yeah, sure, work remote, but work remote from your house in the United States, in your state, and in your city. Otherwise, it's an administrative tax nightmare for us, which is fair for a company to do that, by the way. But you have to take that into account in making your decisions, because if you want to live in other countries and travel the world and be digital nomads and have other passports and residencies and things like that, you have to stop thinking in terms of jobs. It is not an option. Not an option.
Not anymore. It was a few years ago. 3 years ago, you could probably get by and have one of those like safe remote jobs where they weren't checking in on you very much and you could do whatever the hell you wanted. Now, it just doesn't really work anymore. Nobody that we have talked to in the last 12 months has had success landing a remote job that let them work outside of the US that I can remember.
No, every week we're talking to a lot of you in the community who's like, yeah, I'm trying to find the remote job, but all of them say I need to be in the United States now. And I'm like, yeah, it changed. It changed. It's not a thing. They caught on to it, and they don't want the administrative nightmare, and they want some control over their employees, which is fair. But what does that mean for you and your entrepreneur expat lifestyle and your desire to go live in another country? It means you need to start making some different decisions in terms of how it is that you make money. So how can we help them do that?
So make sure to download the Make Money from Anywhere guide below, and you can learn more about how to make money online from anywhere, what types of roles and positions and activities can make money from anywhere. We're also going to be updating that guide and updating you in our email list when we come up with more programs and more solutions to get your online business going. We actually do have a mastermind program as well. Typically, we just had that available for people that were already making 6 or 7 figures and wanted to scale. But in the last 60 days, we've started opening that up to people from our entrepreneur expat community as well. And they've had amazing results. I don't know if you want to talk about one of our latest people that had, just in 2 weeks, he built his entire business plan.
Yeah, so in 2 weeks, we can get you started with your entire business plan. We can take what you've been doing in the corporate world or in your work experience and turn that into a digital product that you can sell. Now, this is a big difference between a scam and something that's legit, and we're going to have a whole other video about scams because a lot of you have been getting scammed, is what we've been hearing too. But what we do is we help you create your own product that you can sell out into the marketplace.
Not somebody else's product, not a multi-level marketing thing,
not our product,
not how to trade something, trade options, trade Bitcoin, trade goose pellets, whatever it is that they're teaching you to do.
We help you create your own training program that you own the intellectual property to. And as one of our clients said yesterday on our virtual co-working call, if I have a system, I can sell it. So we help you create your own system that you can start selling in the marketplace, and we can do that in as little as 4 weeks. And then from there, we start actually marketing and selling in the marketplace. And we've had clients generate $7,500 in cash in 3 days. We've had clients go from zero to a $14,000 sale in 2 weeks. We've had clients like Courtney, who was on this channel that we interviewed her, who closed a $13,000 sale in 6 weeks, quit her job, and has been running around the entire world running 2 global businesses ever since. So this is not uncommon if you have the right structure, if you have the right instructions, and if you have the right mentorship. We can get this going very quickly for you. So if you want more help in terms of how to get that done, make sure to sign up for a call with us below. If you've already had a call, please leave it for first timers only. Let everybody have a chance. So the information for that, to talk to us directly about how we can take your work experience and turn it into a business, will be below. And also make sure to check out our next video that we have after this one, which is how to not get scammed, because this is very, very important, and we're going to have another video coming out on that because many of you have fallen victim to scams and it's keeping you from legit opportunities.
Sign up below. Make sure you secure your call with us because we're usually booked about 2 to 3 weeks in advance. And like this video if you enjoyed our content. It really helps us out a lot in our goal of reaching 1 million entrepreneur expats and aspiring entrepreneur expats. Till next time, we're Justin and Amanda. Bye-bye.